Minister of State Information and Broadcasting Rajyavardhan Singh Rathore speaking there at the 6th National Community Radio Sammelan.
कितने भी इश्तिहार दे दिए जाएं रेडियो पे, टीवी पे, वो सामने आते हैं और निकल जाते हैं, रजिस्टर नहीं होते। आप तो कम्युनिटी रेडियो वाले हैं, आप अपने इलाकों में कभी किसी से पूछिए कि क्या वो 4 या 5 सरकार की कोई ऐसी योजनाएं के बारे में बता सकते हैं जिनसे उनको लाभ हो। आपको जवाब नहीं मिलेगा। इसका मतलब कहीं हमारे जो कई इश्तिहार जा रहे हैं उससे जो रीच होनी चाहिए वो नहीं हो पा रही, और वहाँ पर कम्युनिटी रेडियो का लाभ उठाया जा सकता है, जहाँ आप लोकल जो एक्सपर्ट्स हैं उनको बुलाकर जब आप उस क्षेत्र के बारे में बात करेंगे कि किस तरह से वहाँ के लोग उस योजना का उपयोग कर सकते हैं, तो लोगों के समझ में आने लगेगी। एक तो भाषा वही होगी और दूसरा शायद बोलने का तरीका, और जो उदाहरण देंगे वो लोगों को तुरंत समझ में आ जाएगा। तो कनेक्ट जो होता है वो कनेक्ट बहुत ज़बरदस्त कम्युनिटी रेडियो पे हो सकता है। हम मुद्रा योजना की बात करते हैं, इतना पावरफुल प्रोग्राम है भारत सरकार का, उसका किस तरह से लाभ उठाया जाए। आमतौर पे जब हम एक ग्रुप में बैठते हैं और कोई एक राय देने लगता है तो सबके आइडियाज़ अपने आप आने लग जाते हैं कि हाँ ये तो मैं जानता हूँ ये बात। तो उसी तरह से जब लोकल किसी व्यक्ति से आप बात करेंगे कि मुद्रा योजना में क्या क्या करा जा सकता है, उधर कारोबार क्या क्या हो सकते हैं, उसी तरह स्टार्टअप, उसी तरह सॉइल हेल्थ कार्ड, उसी तरह फसल बीमा योजना, कितने ही प्रोग्राम हैं जिनको आप बात कर सकते हैं। दूसरी बात, एक प्लेटफॉर्म जब मिलता है, आज यहाँ पर अवार्ड्स दिए गए, एक सम्मान भी होता है, एक मोटिवेशन भी होता है, एक अच्छा लगता है। जिनको नहीं मिलता उनको लगता है कि अगली बार मुझे मिलना चाहिए। इट्स ए इंस्पिरेशनल थिंग। वही जब आप अपने कम्युनिटी रेडियो में किसी ने खेल में अच्छा करा, किसी ने पढ़ाई में अच्छा करा, कोई सोशल सर्विस में अच्छा कर रहा है, उसको अगर आप बुला के उनसे चर्चा करेंगे तो उनको भी अच्छा लगेगा और सुनने वालों को भी अच्छा लगेगा। आज जो कम्युनिटी रेडियो जितने हैं, मुझे लगता है इसको हमें बहुत बहुत आगे बढ़ाना है, एंड उसमें हम सरकार भी काम करेगी। उसमें सरकार तो काम करेगी, जैसे अभी सुनील अरोड़ा साहब ने बोला कि हम इसको और आगे बढ़ाना चाहेंगे, लेकिन उसमें कहीं आप सबकी भी ज़रूरत पड़ेगी। और उसके लिए जो ये एक राष्ट्रीय सम्मेलन हुआ है, जो रीजनल सम्मेलन है, वो बहुत महत्वपूर्ण हो जाएगा। सब चाहते हैं कम्युनिटी रेडियो होना चाहिए। मैं मेंबर्स ऑफ पार्लियामेंट से बात करता हूं तो सब बड़े एक्साइटेड हो जाते हैं कि कम्युनिटी रेडियो होना चाहिए, लेकिन कम्युनिटी रेडियो के बाद आगे सी से क्या होगा, ओ से क्या होगा, मैं क्या करूं आगे इसको शुरू करने के लिए, उसमें सब उलझ के पीछे रह जाते हैं। अब आप सब ने करा हुआ है, यू हैव बीन देयर, यू हैव डन इट, नाउ यू नीड टू हैंड होल्ड अदर्स एंड टेक देम फॉरवर्ड। सो आई होप यू विल बी एबल टू डू दैट एंड वी विल सपोर्ट यू इन दैट। सो आई विश यू ऑल द बेस्ट।
Minister of State for Information and Broadcasting Rajyavardhan Rathore speaking at the 6th National Community Radio Sammelan that has just begun. In fact, Information and Broadcasting Minister Arun Jaitley had inaugurated that 3-day event. The theme of that Sammelan is community radio in India towards diversity and sustainability. The minister there was talking about how the radio has a mass connect and how it can be used as a platform to in fact inspire a lot of people, and as well as when we discuss with achievers their achievements, and the government will do its best in promoting community radio. In fact, once again, let's go across live. Information and Broadcasting Minister Arun Jaitley speaking.
And members of the community radio fraternity from all over the country. Let me at the very outset compliment you for having carried forward this initiative. And already I am given to understand there are over 191 community radio stations. Over 400 have been permitted. And therefore in the next few months, we should see a significant growth and connectivity as far as community radio is concerned. We are moving surely but certainly in the right direction. Till about 2 decades ago, there was a erroneous impression that the entire system, including governments, had that radio and television are the monopoly of the state. Now, world over, this trend was changing, and it had to change. People can't just be fed with state-controlled or public broadcasting-controlled radio or television. That has an important function. But then you had a landmark situation where airwaves, both in radio and television, were thrown open, and the ownership vested in the people. And when it vested in the people, there is of course a limitation as to the physical capacity that the medium has. And subject to that physical capacity of the medium, people were being encouraged, and as a result of which you now have an explosion of television channels, a very large number of privately owned FM radios. And then since 2002, community radio made its advent into educational institutions, then spread into local areas. And I think this is a trend which has to be encouraged, and encouraged for good reason. Radio essentially is the old medium. And in between, it appeared to us when television occupied the center stage, particularly in the 1980s and 90s, that radio was taking a back seat. And suddenly, with the expansion of the FM radio, radio has come back with a bang. And therefore, radio has become a very powerful medium. Its reach is easier, its reach is cheaper, and its reach is much larger. What purpose would these smaller community radio stations do? You see, we are a land of diversity in terms of language, in terms of social practices, cultures. Almost as you move from district to district, the dialects change, the weather changes, the crop patterns change, and people have to be acquainted both with information and education. And I'm glad when the prizes were just being distributed, in the various categories, amongst the programs which won the award was a hygiene related program. The importance of keeping your hands clean. And if somebody can do a program across the country, station after station in this, I think instead of having propaganda for different types which indoctrinates people, if you have sustained campaigns of this kind, so that we are able to drill into the human mind the healthcare and preventive healthcare systems, radio can become a very powerful tool of education, healthcare, keeping language. There is a grievance that people have that some of the dialects and languages are dying. Poetry in certain areas, in some languages, is depleting itself. Now, can these be the institutions for keeping those cultures and languages alive and increasing the level of scholarship as far as those areas is concerned? So, in tradition, in matters of education as far as the farmers are concerned, giving them the new agricultural techniques, the crop patterns, the weather forecasts, I think sky is the limit as far as the width of programming is concerned. And of course, cohesively interlinked areas, smaller areas within a smaller radius itself, are regions where people have a tendency to connect with each other much more. And therefore, it's that connectivity which community radio has the capacity to build about. If you take a slightly different examples, world over newspaper circulations are now shrinking because people are moving on to the digital mode. Television news is also a substitute. But regional newspapers are not shrinking because news of the region, language, culture, the connectivity is what keeps them alive. And therefore, there, if you see across India, the expansion takes place. Now, the same practice and principle will probably apply as far as community radio is concerned. And I think over the next 2 days, when you discuss this, these issues, what is most important are two factors. As far as the government is concerned, and of course it would have an important role of being a permitting agency, a facilitator, but then people in different regions with some government support have to expand and expand quite rapidly. And more important than that is exchanging experiences with each other about the quality, nature and the width of the programming. I think that's extremely important, and therefore let me compliment the department for having taken this initiative, and I'm sure this will be extremely educative and useful to all of us over the next 2 days. Thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you very much for your kind words, sir. Certainly, as you said, sky is the limit. The entire team of yours, the entire department.
Information and Broadcasting Minister Arun Jaitley speaking at the 6th National Community Radio Sammelan that has just begun. In fact, the minister had inaugurated the 3-day event just a short while back. The minister there spoke